the Dogs season, while it was an improvement on last year with a top 4 finish, bowing out in straight sets in the end. Amazing scenes and a huge crowd there to boot in a beautiful Sydney afternoon. But I think everyone in this studio and watching on the box would say there was no team that was beating that Penrith side yesterday.
No, we played a champion team at full strength and they had their best day of the season. I think it's been a great year for the Bulldogs. We're so proud to get to where we've got, but it's not our time at the moment. It certainly wasn't our day yesterday. We ran into a red-hot side. There are a number of factors that probably led a little bit to our performance, but I don't want to take anything away from what Penrith have done. To come from where they were at the mid-season point, to be back now to defend their title over the preliminary rounds is testimony to a great club, and they were just too good for us. And this fella there, Nathan Cleary, proved yet again he's the best in the game.
He's insane, isn't he? Do you know what? I actually thought the style that Penrith Panthers played showed how much respect they have for the Bulldogs side. They came out, usually we see Penrith thrive in the last sort of 5-10 minutes of each half. They love being in that arm wrestle and they just wait, they build pressure and then they sort of unleash. Well, they came out and just flex their muscles early on. They didn't want to get in the arm wrestle with that Bulldog side because they can be quite similar. So I think that shows, or that gives a lot of credit to the Dogs. And then, I mean, the master himself, Nathan, what can't he do? That was wild.
Well, that's the thing, Cam. Nathan doing what Nathan does. Blaze Talangi looking more and more comfortable too out there on the field with him. And you got the wingers like Alamotti and Brian To'o finishing like they finish. It was the perfect storm for them.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible really to think where this team has come from, particularly the halfway mark of the year, where it is so hard to claw your way back. If you're not sitting in the top 8 or in and around that top 8, like this team was last. To think that they've clawed their way all the way back now to be 80 minutes away from another grand final. Not just another grand final, it's 6 grand finals in a row. 6. And the possibility of 5 premierships consecutively. It's amazing. And it shows, the work ethic of this footy side to not say, well, yeah, you know what, over the past 5 years, we're pretty happy with that. Anyone can be happy with 5 grand finals in a row, 4 premierships in a row. They're out there still wanting to be the best in this competition and wanting to be the best, and they're going to have to be at their best this week against the Broncos.
And where they were, Smithy, they were last, as you said, but it wasn't just they were last, the way they were playing.
They were playing poorly.
They were ordinary. It was their senior players. They had these young guys coming to the squad looking for the senior players to produce, and they weren't. They were playing ordinary. Then all of a sudden they just found their groove, and yesterday they were 20 from 20 at one stage. They were perfect. They played almost a perfect half of football. And just led by 30 points at half-time, whatever it was. They were flying.
Daytime footy as well. Do you think that suits their style, Gus?
I think I saw a stat before the game. Nathan Cleary hasn't lost a daytime game since 2019. Like 6 years since he's lost a daytime game, because that's their best football. I think their attack is very underrated. Everyone's talked about the great Panther defence over the last few years, but their attack is also very underrated. They use it spasmodically. I mean, they really go for the jugular at different times. But yesterday they took that game by the scruff of the neck. Big games are like this. You get 2 teams that go into a big game and they've both got their plan, they've both got their strategy, the way they want to play, and you've got to go out and get it on first. Now, with all their finals experience, Panthers did that. Bulldogs couldn't get their game on at all, and they didn't allow Bulldogs to get it on. The other challenge is that if your opposition is playing the game that they want to play, you've got to absorb the pressure. You've got to feel comfortable being uncomfortable and repel them until your time comes. And the Bulldogs just couldn't do that till half-time came, and then the game relaxed a little bit and they were to get into a little bit of football. But never once in the first half do I remember us playing the ball anywhere near their end of the field. It was just methodical, controlled, kicking game. And, of course, scoring plenty of points as well.
We'll do a big preview against, obviously, the Bronx. Who've got some key decisions to make, and their halves in particular. And Reece Walsh in the form he's been, they're rested as well a little later on. The Dogs, though, season wraps up, as we joked about at the top. Mad Monday for the side today. The biggest takeaway, losing your skipper and your best player, Stephen Crichton, that hurts as well, the wrong end.
Yeah, and look, this is not making excuses, but that was our 13th game in a row. We haven't had a bye since round 16. And in the last 4 or 5 weeks, we've played Storm twice, we've played Panthers, we've played Sharks, and then we've got into Melbourne and Penrith in the finals, who are the 2 top sides. So it's certainly been a tough road. A few weeks ago, when Panthers decided to rest their top players and players with their reserve grade side, we actually contemplated doing the same in that game, just to have a break, in that game as well. We decided that we would go for it because that would get us into the top 4. And we really thought we were a chance of beating Melbourne in Melbourne, which we went very close to doing. And I do think, apart from the injuries, we might have been able to sneak home there. And that would have got us a fortnight off leading in the preliminary final. They put a lot into last week. There were some big injuries came out of it. Some players played with injury yesterday. Not taking anything away from the Panthers, but the season just got a little bit too long for us at the moment. It's not our time. our time will come, and I was very happy with the season. We set so many records internally, corporately and crowd-wise, and we played in front of the 3 biggest crowds this season. We played in big finals crowd again. It's wonderful to be back in finals football, and hopefully we're going to repeat it next year.
Because I thought the Bulldogs overachieved. I think they had a great season. I reckon that's why you might have re-signed Cameron Serrata for so long. He's obviously done a fantastic job, but I can't help but think there's a little bit of self-sabotage when he went and signed Lockie Galvin. How do you guys feel about that decision as a club now? Do you think it was the right decision that you made? I know you're saying you've done it for the future, for the next 2 or 3 years, but I just think about the current team and where they were at the time and where they ended up.
It suits the media narrative to say that the way that you describe it there. None of that was in our 4 walls, none of it anywhere, from any players or any coaches or what have you. We're delighted to have him on our books. We took the opportunity when it arose. It came out of the blue. We didn't know it was going to happen at that time, but we made a decision that we wanted him in our club, and that's what we did. It's led to this media barrage, and a lot of it has been childish and extremely unfair. But as I say to the boys, welcome to the Bulldogs. We get that stuff all the time. And it's a part of being in our jersey. This boy was outstanding yesterday. In a badly beaten side, I thought he really showed his class. And he's a real player of the future, and that's what we've bought him for. The player he's going to be, not the player he is at the moment. I thought he did outstandingly well, coming in when he did, to play as many games as he did for us, under the pressure that he had. And he's never played halfback before. He's never played halfback in any junior football whatsoever. So it was a big ask on him, and I think he's done an outstanding job.
What does this final series do? I mean, all year you've spoken about the Bulldogs in the future. Lockie Galvin's the prime example of where you're heading towards. What does this final series do to help, the next one and the few years to come?
It's all great experience. We made the finals last year for the first time in 8 years, and we ran into a really good Manly side, gave a really good account of ourselves in the first semi-final. That knocked us out. This year we went a step better. We made the top 4. Our reward was to run into Melbourne and Panthers. We ran into the 2 top sides, which I think it's great experience, and it's something that they'll be able to lean on going into the future, and it lets us know where we stand. I thought our effort in Melbourne the other night, with all the injuries we got, was outstanding against a really class side. Penrith were too good for us on the weekend, but they've been too good for a lot of teams when they play like that. And I come out of it, very, very pleased with the season that we've had and looking forward to the future. It's a long race, rugby league, a long, long race. You've got to be in it.
Gus, at the start of the season, I had the Bulldogs in the Final 4, so playing this weekend. And you were tracking that way. You were sitting first halfway through the season. Why did the club feel the need, or why did the football team feel the need to change out Toby Sexton and Reid?
Yeah, we don't need to discuss that publicly, but if you go back and look at our draw in the first after 15 rounds we led the competition. We'd had 3 byes. Yep. I think we played the Titans twice, Parramatta twice, St George twice, South Sydney twice. We had the big games to come towards the back end of the season. We also had a bigger representation in Origin this year that we didn't expect. All right, Maxi King and Kurt Mann and those fellas played Origin. Plus other fellas were taken into camp as 18th man and other went into train. So it was a disruptive period for us that we haven't experienced for a number of years. So there were a number of things there that led to it. The decision to bring Galvin into the club was extremely important for our future, so we decided to do that. And, I don't want to talk about Toby and Reid because they've been wonderful for our club. They've been great kids, and I don't want to talk about publicly where it is, but every decision that was made in there was made by people who deal with these players every day, who coach them every day, who know the players extremely well. And one thing I know about coaches, they like to win.
Yep.
They like to win. And that's why they pick the teams the way that they do. And that's how they did it. And I trust the people that deal with them all day, every day, not the people that take pot shots from the media. They don't have any influence over what we do.
You media.
You media.
Mic drop from Gus. Any room in that salary cap for an off-season signing? You got Leo Thompson on the way. Anything else in the works? Any scuttle for us?
We've signed Leo Thompson. We've signed Cade Dykes, and most of it else will be sort of pushing young fellas up from below, and we'll see what the next couple of seasons.
Who do you expect to be halfback going forward?
Halfback going forward.
Do you think it'll be Galvin and Burton again? I mean, Burton looked like he played pretty good in the centre. Do you have a young halfback coming through at all?
Yeah, we've got young Mitch Woods. He's on contract for 3 years, and it's really our timing, our run with him. I think he'll debut next year for absolutely sure and certain. We've been cautious with him coming through, and he's had a good season in the lower grades, and at the start of next year he'll get a chance.